Hello, and welcome to your NARSA weekly update for the week commencing Monday, the 17th of March 2025. It's Gary here again, and what a beautiful time to be alive. What a beautiful time to be a Rangers fan, and what a beautiful time to record a podcast for your listening pleasure. I just can't believe the type and style of week that we had. And do you know what, folks? It's really, really good to feel really, really good about the club again and just kind of totally immerse in the football experience, isn't it? You know, we don't have to worry about takeovers, don't have to worry about investors in the boardroom and what they did and didn't do and all the things that have gone wrong for this season. Of course, we're at the tail end of the season here, which is supposed to be way more exciting than it's actually been for us, but we do have European football to look after and look forward to over the next wee while, which is not the same for everyone in the country that we play football in. And here's the thing, who would have known that such an incredible impact would have happened over Vaclav Cherny washing some of their fans after the winning goal yesterday. You know, it's one of these things like the fans were absolutely raging, and that makes me laugh a lot because you get a fright, you don't know what it is, and I understand that there would be a wee bit of disappointment, let's just say, with that. But then when you see fans acting and reacting like that, for me it is anyway, the amount of abuse that we give players, we give referees, we give staff, we give whomever it is we feel like in a sporting context. And then when they turn around and they maybe give us a wee gesture or something else happens, I'm not talking about Eric Cantona jumping into a crowd or anything. I'm just talking about they give us it back a wee bit and we just don't like it, at all. So the irony is we scored the winning goal. The irony is our bench went mental. The irony is it's water, and we regularly refer to them as the unwashed, and it's just a perfect storm of absolutely brilliant hilarity, which is always a lot funnier, of course, when it comes on the back of a very, very important victory. So I'll get to that in just a wee second here. On the game segment, two massive games for us last week, of course, and the first one was Thursday's penalties win at Ibrox after a 2-0 defeat. Very nervy night at Ibrox there on Thursday. I thought we started okay. In fact, actually, I thought for the first 35 minutes or so that we were really, really good. Cherny started really well, and in particular, he seems to really thrive in the European atmosphere for us, and he was creating chances and getting shots and stuff like that. And then after the first 35 minutes, in fact, I think it was around about 35 minutes, they got their first shot and goal, and then that kind of seemed to turn the tide a wee bit in their favour. And they scored right on half time. It couldn't have been any closer to half time. Could it from what was an absolutely brilliant finish? I don't take anything away from the finish. It was just a very unfortunate cross that had came in because it just landed perfectly for the guy. The guy just had to put his foot out and basically steer it past Butland there. It was a deflected cross, unfortunately, that just hit Dujon Sterling in the way over. And then I felt they really took the game by the scruff of the neck, and we were looking pretty nervy. So it wasn't a massive surprise when they got their second from the same guy, actually, just to kind of take it into extra time. I didn't really have a great feeling that we were going to lose it in full time, but we were kind of puffed out. You could see that we were just the legs were getting a wee bit heavy. This is a very high intensity game that we're playing here. Cherny had a shot just in the first half of extra time, which was brilliant. Their goalie made an absolutely brilliant save, and then we endured a kind of what's the best word to use, like a calamitous ending to the game with, typically in extra time, I've been a bit of I don't know if I would say a proponent of taking extra time out of the factor and just going straight to penalties, because extra time typically is just a waste of time in terms of entertainment. It's more wear and tear on the players. That there's very rarely a time when you have a barnstorming extra time, and then we had a barnstorming extra time, and it was bizarre. As I say, calamitous. It was like chances at both ends, mostly ours actually, but kind of slower thinking it seemed to be from the attackers on both sides, and not really kind of really going through and executing properly on the chances that were created. So We did kind of ride the luck a wee bit. I thought there was a couple of potential penalties that went, both I think went to the VAR for checking, but it was deemed not enough. That was from Nico Raskin and from Captain James Tavernier as well. So not enough contact to merit the fact that you look like you're flying out of a cannon when you get tipped by another player. Just pathetic. That I hate that. I really do. But both teams really going for it, and then we get the penalty kicks, and I didn't feel super confident going into penalty kicks. You know, we've still got a wee bit of scar tissue there from Seville back in 2022 there, and I don't recall a time when we really did that well in penalties. And you look at the squad, you look at the season, and you know, you're obviously nervous and you don't want to tempt fate too much, but I didn't have high hopes. And then I said to my love Erin, I said that if he gets any sort of save here to take us through, I'm talking about Jack Butland here, he's going to get his super title back, and he got it back and then some. Super Jack Butland is well and truly back. He was absolutely brilliant. I mean, you think about the saves were great, absolutely great, and he got close to, I think, almost all of them. Maybe he went the wrong way for one of them. But when you think about his contribution over the course of the two ties, especially in the game in Turkey last week there, you know, he had a couple of brilliant saves. I mentioned that on last week's pod as well there. So we go through on penalties relatively easily on penalties there, guys. Skies at the very end. That's kind of unforgivable, isn't it? Can you imagine that was Captain James Tavernier that did that? We would be absolutely on his back there. So yeah, we go through and we have a quarter final to look forward to against Athletic Club. That's coming up here next month. This is a big deal, folks. This is a really, really big deal for the club, for the coffers in the club. It can't have done any harm whatsoever. I've seen that there was some Sky Sports news footage of one of the potential investors that he was at the game there. So to get to see Ibrox on a European night, to get to see the game unfold the way that it did, to get to see the fan reaction at the end, that can only entice a potential investor to be more and more, what would you say, more and more in love with the club, or with the prospect of being part of the club. It was just a perfect storm in terms of that too. Positives, the atmosphere was great. Going through, of course, is a massive deal for us, as I said. Seeing the fans happy, we haven't had a lot to be happy about this season. You know, a couple of Old Firm victories, a very close cup final where we got cheated. You know, yeah, the enduring of the season as it's unfolded, especially in the league and the Scottish Cup. They are, you know, it's just not cool. But a quarter final in a major European tournament is not to be sniffed at. And of course, once again, we are flying the flag for Scotland in European competition. That's just the way that it goes, isn't it? On the negative side, I think really not obviously getting beat wasn't great, you know, and getting losing that goal just towards the end of the half there was kind of tough to see. We had our chances and we didn't quite, it wasn't quite as crisp in terms of the chance taking like it was in Turkey the week before. But to get through that game, to get ourselves into a situation to get to the quarter final is not to be sniffed at. So there can't be too many negatives from that. I guess the stats will show that it was a defeat at home, but getting through was the only thing that mattered completely. And if anybody had said at the beginning of the game, you're going to go through in penalties, we would have taken it. If anybody had said at the beginning of the game, it's going to go to penalties in the second tie or the second game here and give yourself an opportunity to get to the final, we would have taken it at that point. And of course, it worked in our favour, so it feels even better. In terms of the stats, 40% possession, 17 shots in goal with 9 on target, which I thought was very, very interesting, versus 14 shots for them with 3 on target. So absolutely the epitome of counter-attacking football there. I think you can tell that in the stats, which is great. In terms of the referee watch, I did actually capture this guy's name at the beginning. So his name was Espen Eskas from Norway. And I think he did okay. I think he booked, who did he book? He booked Diomande for their other guy. Basically looking, like I said earlier, like he got shot from a cannon and from a touch from Diomande, which I thought was kind of harsh, because eventually that made it that we had to take Diomande off at some point, because he's in that kind of position in the middle of the field there. At bookings are not too far away. I guess, do you know what? Back to the negatives, maybe the fact that we've got a couple of players missing for the first tie is going to be a difficult situation for us. I didn't realise we had many players on yellow cards with that tightrope of missing the next leg. I still think that's very unfair. there. But that's just the way that it goes. But I'll give the referee a 7 out of 10. He did all right, I suppose, overall. And those little heart pounding moments when I thought they might have given a penalty against us at crucial times in the game, by the way, too. He did us a bit of a solid there. The second game, which is the whole reason I'm so upbeat today, was yesterday's brilliant 3-2 Old Firm victory at Shark Head. I didn't have a lot of expectation going into this one from one way or the other, And actually, do you know what we did in Calgary? We did a poll to see whether it would be worthwhile even open up the pub from there. And I kind of thought that it would be, basically, attached to whether we did well on Thursday, whether we would actually open up. But we got the 6 or 7 folks that said they were going to come, and we ended up having 14 down there. And the folks that decided not to come, I'm sure, are pretty upset with themselves because it was a brilliant game, a brilliant atmosphere, a brilliant result too. But the key thing for me here, in terms of the start of the game, was the way that we dominated the first 3 minutes. And I know that doesn't sound like such a big deal, but we literally took the kick-off and took it to them right in the very beginning. We've started some games quite well before and then kind of petered into our kind of standard type of game. But this one, we just kept them in there. We kept peppering away. We kept trying to give ourselves an opportunity. And then Nico Raskin earns a corner from a brilliant shot. I thought it was a brilliant save as well, actually. And then we get the corner and he scores a goal from the corner. The shortest guy on the pitch scores a headed goal directly from a corner. Am I drunk when I'm just saying this? It sounds silly. Just saying it out loud. And then we had a Czerny chance where Schmeichel passed it to him a la Jack Butland style. And for some reason he didn't shoot. And I think if you watch it on replay, which I did after the game, I think the reason he didn't shoot was he didn't look up too much. He was busy getting control of the ball, and then his mind. I think he was probably a bit mentally tired. And if he'd have looked up, he would have seen that Schmeichel was out of his goal, and he basically passed it past him. But he didn't get that opportunity to do that. Tried to cut it back, got another corner because he just kind of fluffed that one. But then we've one cleared off the line from another corner, which caused a bit of chaos in there. It could have been 2. Then Sterling clears one off our line. I actually don't know how he got to that one. It was like a kind of half bicycle kick, half karate kick that he does to keep us in the lead there. And then we have a brilliant move, and kind of having them move all over the place, and we get, which it started with John Suter, it kind of just a wee bit inside the half, and then we get it to Tav passed it to Raskin heads it over to Diamandi, and he could have missed that easily. The way that he just took it down, controlled it once, and then slotted it home right into the side netting just beyond the post. It was absolutely brilliant. So then Raskin's got a goal and an assist in a game, and Raskin was immense yesterday. The start of the second half, do you know what I really wanted to do in the second half? I wanted us to come out and just go at them and just see, because I imagine that they would have been like, just really go for them here, this other mob I'm talking about, go for them here and see what happens. There's plenty of time to get the goals back. And we kind of sat back off them. And it would have been good to see, like, superhuman effort for the first 5 or 10 minutes here. Try and get that elusive goal and then give ourselves the best opportunity to see the game out. But we didn't do that. Started kind of slow, started kind of sluggish. Then Super Jack Butland became Jack Butland again, and he gets himself a situation where he passes the ball straight to them. They get the ball out to their right-hand side, cross it over, and then I have to imagine that Tav and Sterling get themselves completely flat-footed. I don't know if they lost the flight of the ball or whatever it was, because neither of the two of them jumped. They just stood there, and Maeda towers above them and heads it in. Like, come on. Dearie me, what a mess that goal was. And then there's a blatant shoulder. Here's a wee bit of a complaint about the referee. There's a blatant shoulder on the back on Dessers that the ref says it's a push on him, and the ref says it's a shoulder challenge. Just a ridiculous. Then that's when you're starting to go, now wait a minute, because you get paranoid when things aren't going your way during a game, both playing and watching. And I just don't think it was too surprising that we started to look quite tired as the second half kind of wore on. Certainly from the beginning of the second half up until about 10 minutes to go or something like that. They equalise in the 74th minute. How many times have we seen that type and style of goal from that mob, or from maybe anyone else, but particularly from that mob? They move the ball very quickly. Barron just stops, doesn't track the runner, and he slots it home. We've seen it so many times, and hopefully that's another good lesson for Barron to say this is the sort of job you need to do for the entire game, not just when it suits you in the game. And then we've got Jack Butland became Super Jack Butland because he launches a ball up there and it goes over, the defender lets it bounce, it goes over. See, the great thing about Hamza Igamani, his control is brilliant, and it's very, very difficult to get the ball off of him. He's not a lightning quick player or anything like that. He's not super slow either, but the amount of times you see him come away from very close quarters with one, two, maybe sometimes three players, and he's got the ball. He just has that way of doing that. I don't know if you can even teach that, but it's absolutely brilliant how he does it. So he has that, but you see him on replay looking everywhere as he's getting control of the ball to see what options and opportunities are open to him, and then he absolutely lashes it home. It was a brilliant, absolutely brilliant finish, and I would have to say I thought it was well deserved. I think over the course of the game we were the better team, absolutely dominated the first half for sure. And fair play to that mob from the East End. Almost getting a point from a game against an elite European force is, I mean, that's not to be sniffed at, and that takes some doing. So congratulations to them. They're not too far away from us in terms of genuine actual competing. Here's a disappointment for me. Maybe I should save this for the negatives, but I'll give you the sneak peek right now. That's twice we've beat them now in the league, and we're 13 points behind. Twice, so that's 9 points. That's a 9 point shift, and we're still 13 points. That shows you how rank rotten we have been against other teams in the league. What a terrible season. So unfortunate. The positives: the result, the performance, the character, the entertainment, the endeavour, the attitude, like the never give up attitude. It was like a vintage performance from our teams, our successful teams of yesteryear, and you can start to see the difference here. And do you know what I loved actually? In the press conference afterwards, Barry Ferguson, one of the first things he said was, I've been trying to drum it in to the players, and I'm paraphrasing here. He probably said it more eloquently than I did, that I'm going to, but he said, I've been trying to drum it into the players of what it takes to be a successful Rangers player, and ability is only one of those things. So back to the things I was mentioning there in terms of performance, in terms of character, in terms of endeavour, in terms of energy and things like that. I think they would probably be starting to get it, to say, right, okay, I just need to work harder than my opponent. I need to put in more of a dig. I need to be, as Barry said last week, less nice, and just really go and earn the victory, grab the victory by the scruff of the neck and just take it away with us. And that's what we've seen. That's what we witnessed yesterday. And delays their title party a wee bit, which is all right. We might have an opportunity almost to take it to the break. In fact, I think it would be after the break that they would get it now, if it's 13 points. I don't know. I can't remember how many games are left, actually. My apologies. On the negatives, I think our defending was kind of nightmarish at times. Same for them. It just shows you when we put the sword to them and really go after them, it gives them nightmares at time. And do you know what? Leon Balogun, absolutely love him. He's been a fantastic servant to Rangers, but he had a rough couple of games for us, to the point that every time he got the ball, his mind and his body, or his brain and his body, just weren't connected, and he gave the ball away an inordinate amount of times in the Fenerbahce game, and he did the same. So it was great to see him coming off and proper coming on, a wee bit more freshness and such. And hopefully a wee break will give him, I'll do him some good and give him a chance to rest and recover, and give us options and opportunities for the remaining competitive games for us as this season winds itself down. But he was a bit of a bomb scare. I was getting very, very nervous for him. In terms of stats, 28% possession, 28%, 9 shots on goal with 5 on target. We scored 3. That's more than 50%. I'll take that any day of the week, versus 13 shots and 6 on target. So once again, the epitome, stats-wise anyway, of counter-attacking football done well, and we did it absolutely well. On the referee watch, Stephen McLean, I mentioned earlier there, just that blatant, he said it's a shoulder, and it was awful. It wasn't. It just totally wasn't. And here's another thing, I talked before about that little runt, Alistair Johnson, being unbookable. It seems that Maeda is the exact same, because he just puts it on four, five, six players every single game. And he has the little wave of the hand, and I'm going to lift him up, and everything's okay, and the fake apology and such. And McLean fell for it. That's where Tav. It was good to see Tav actually giving him the gears a wee bit towards the end of the game and not putting up with the snash anymore, because Tav has had a very difficult time against him, to be fair, over the years. But he seems unbookable. But that's what Tav should be saying. How many fouls, just Stephen, I'm not telling you your job, but how many fouls does he have to have before he gets one for persistent fouling? You know, just to put that bug in the referee's ear, just open your eyes and see what's happening, Dippy. So he's going to get a 6 out of 10 for that blatant mistake, and then for letting Maeda away with all that junk as well. So fabulous week for us in terms of Rangers, and a great opportunity for us to just enjoy the week, enjoy the international break for once, you know, and give ourselves an opportunity to rest, recover, and see what happens for us as the remainder of the month and next month unfolds for us. So with that, no break, no games this weekend. We just got a break there too, which is a bit annoying because we're at the Scottish Cup, but another break and another wee chance for us to recharge our batteries as well. On to the shout-outs for this week, and unfortunately I need to start with a bit of a sad one from the Rangers website, and it reads here: everyone at Rangers is saddened to have learned of the passing of former player Don Kichenbrand at the age of 91. Don was known as the Rhino, Don, who was known as the Rhino, was the oldest living Ranger and scored 24 goals in 25 league appearances as the Light Blues won the title under Scott Simon in season 1955-56. In all, he featured 37 times for Rangers. He also played for several clubs in South Africa, as well as Sunderland, Forfar Athletic and Keith in the UK. The thoughts of everyone at Rangers are with Don's family and friends at this difficult time. I would like to just echo that and say the exact same from a NARSA perspective. Sincere condolences to Don's family and friends. I wonder who's the oldest living Ranger now. I don't actually know that. If you know that, please feel free to let me know. I would be interested in knowing that too. And kind of along the same lines, I did mention that there was a note on the Rangers website about the tragic passing of Christopher Potter in Turkey, of course, just a week before last there. And there's an absolutely beautiful tribute to Christopher on the Rangers website that you should check out. You just go into Rangers, go into news, and you'll see it there. It's just so well written, and it's a very, very nice touch from the club to do that. This is obviously was a very special guy. Every Rangers fan is a special person, and they just went all out to really do him and him justice and give something of solace for his family at this very, very difficult time for them. So if you get a chance, go check that out. I really would recommend it. It's a very feel good part of the site there. Just before I started recording today, right now it's 11:57 a.m. We had a post on the NARSA WhatsApp chat saying that former Northern Ireland star Stephen Davis will be inducted into the Malcolm Brodie Northern Ireland Hall of Fame on the 4th of May. Very, very well done. I imagine over time he will get every single accolade that's coming his way for both his talent, his skills, the clubs and the successes that he had with each of the clubs, and of course his absolutely fantastic international career as well. I think it was 140 caps, which is the most capped outfield British player in history. So I mean, that's a big deal, and good for him. In terms of the women's team, back in league action, and they thumped Motherwell 8-0 in the league. Now, I mentioned last week that things were getting a little bit twisty and turny as they close in on the end of the league campaign, and boy did it didn't half I should say on the weekend there, because both Glasgow City and that mob got beat. So Hibs are now top of the table, clear of the Rangers women's team by 2 points, and interestingly they play each other in the Sky Sports Cup final this coming Saturday at Fir Park. So hopefully, with it being the international break and no Rangers games, that there'll be a bumper crowd there to see us, the top two. I mean, that's what the sponsors want, isn't it? The best two teams in the entire country going head to head in cup finals as well. They got their wish, and it's not going to be an easy game at all. If they're going to lift that cup, it's going to be a big deal, because Hibs are flying right now, and they seem to be absolutely the form team in that league. So very, very exciting, but good to see them get a clean sheet. Good to see them rack up the goals and avoid anything to do with goal difference for this year too. Just another shout out for the Melbourne City Loyal Rangers Supporters Club Culture Weekend, November 21st to 22nd of this year. Ian Ferguson, Gary Stevens, Stuart Monroe all going. I'll continue to leave the link for that in the show notes for this week. On a convention update, I have it as 86 days and 12 weeks until we descend upon Kissimmee in Osceola County, Florida. That's June the 12th to the 15th, of course, at Omni at Champions Gate. It's coming in quick. Oh man, is it coming in quick. And what I would like to do at the beginning here is just send out a bit of a shout out. We have Colin Bowman down at the Orlando Rangers Supporters Club, who is looking for sponsorship in terms of creating a magazine and creating some memorabilia and things like that. So if you want your business or your club or just any message that you want to get out there included in our ongoing convention paraphernalia, then please reach out to the people at orlandorsc.com. That's the people at orlandorsc.com. I'll put that in the show notes as well, and then we'll get that organised, and then you can reach out. Then Colin knows who's actually genuinely interested, and then he can reach out to them once we've decided exactly what the packaging is going to look like. And on the same note, if you have any other wider sponsorship desires, please do get in touch with us, with me directly, rangersSEC@hotmail.com, and I'd be happy to let you know what types of styles of packages we have available to get your name out there for the attendees at the convention. So I did mention last week that I had the opportunity to get to have an interview with the folks who won the Experience Kissimmee Challenge. And I kind of went into the interview not knowing really truly what the challenge was, how it all came about, what they had to do to win it. And I got an opportunity to chat with both Callum Smith, who was the winner, and his lovely partner, Gemma McMahon. And here is what that interview sounded like. Hello, everybody. And this is something kind of new that we've had a chance to do here today. I'm very, very excited to be joined by Callum Smith and Gemma McMahon here, who are the winners of the Experience Kissimmee Challenge, which has gifted them a wonderful prize of coming to join us at the NARSA convention in Kissimmee, Florida this June. Very, very exciting. And we're going to get to the particulars about that in just a wee second. But first and foremost, we're recording this basically just after the Old Firm victory. So I have to ask, what did you guys think of the game?
Fantastic. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. First half, superb. Started in the second half, wee bit slow. I thought they maybe got a bit nervous, but what a strike for Hamza to win the game. So buzzing, absolutely buzzing.
Absolutely brilliant. There's just no such thing as an unimportant Old Firm victory. It doesn't matter what's happening, whether you're miles ahead or miles behind. It's great. Always the fans are back. Everybody's getting upset about Cherney giving them a wash for a wee second.
Exactly. But they need it. They needed that wash.
Exactly. I think that's why they're so upset.
Wouldn't be complaining.
It was brilliant. And it was a long second half, and I kind of expected a wee bit of that after Thursday's exertions, but both teams, there was lots and lots of errors from both teams, and thankfully, for Butland to get an assist on goals for Rangers and that mob today was kind of interesting. His kick out wasn't the best for their goal here. So, brilliant time. So it's great. I'm glad we actually chose this time. It was a bit of a coin toss as to whether this would be a good conversation and energetic or whether it would be something else. So on to less important matters, but equally as fun. Tell me about your experience of the Experience Kissimmee Challenge, and I'll tell you, actually, before you tell me, I'll tell you how much I know about it. I just know from the Experience Kissimmee team that they were doing something. It was over a few weeks. It was at half-time on the Ibrox games, and you came out the winner, Callum.
Yep.
But my understanding is that Gemma did all of the work. That's what I was told, and I don't know anything else about it.
I'll tell you what happened. So I finished the night shift and I got obviously the email to register for the Kissimmee Challenge, and I thought I was really tired. I'll just enter it as free. What can I lose? And it come out that I had been selected to enter the next stage, and then I was one of the quickest of 3 to reply, and that was me selected into that stage of the first part.
Yeah.
And then obviously going onto the pitch, a dream come true for me. Obviously going onto the pitch at Ibrox, a full house, and then winning the first part, going on to the final. Unbelievable for me. No better feeling.
Yeah.
That I've ever had anyway.
Being a winner at Ibrox is a wee bit of a rarity this last wee while, so that's great.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So what was it you had to do? Like, what was the literal challenge? I don't
So
even
the
know, because we
challenge
don't get
was
to see that.
the edge of the goalkeeper's box. It was the closest to the centre spot.
Right.
So there was, in the first group there was 3 of us, and the closest to the centre spot obviously got through to the final.
Yeah.
The final stage, and then there was, in the final there was 4 of us. Again, the same again, the closest to the centre spot, and I ended up winning it. So absolutely buzzed. Oh, what a feeling!
Yeah, absolutely.
I was actually all right going out in front of 50,000. It was when the guy come over for the interview. I
didn't know what to say.
I didn't know what to say.
Yeah. Oh, that's great news. Absolutely great news. And then the prize you've got is that yourselves and the 3 boys, Kai, Brad, and Leon, are getting the opportunity to come over. Have you guys experienced a NARSA convention before?
Never.
I've never been to a NARSA. Never. I've been to Florida, but never a NARSA convention. So I don't know what to expect. But I'm absolutely buzzed. I'm looking forward for it. Like,
it's going to be a great time. It's going to be great to see you there as well. What are you most looking forward to?
a bit of sunshine for a start. And obviously,
the kids
I'm
are really excited.
The boys are buzzing for it. They're Rangers daft like me. Just looking forward to the whole experience of being out there when this NARSA's going to be here. So it's all new to me.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time. I won't bore you with the details of the actual convention itself, but we have a great time. It's just Rangers wall to wall from beginning to end. Get a chance to meet some heroes. Definitely going to be some sunshine. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you, and I really look forward to meeting you. And it's actually it's less than 100 days to go, so just about 3 months away. 3 months right now we'll be there. So
97 days, 96 days, something like that.
No long coming in, right?
Exactly. Well, it's great meeting you. Thanks again for entering the Experience Kiss Me Challenge. Congratulations again for winning, and I look forward to having a couple of drinks with you when we see you and kissing me.
We'll have me and a couple.
Good man.
Pleasure, mate. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks a million.
We are the people.
Pretty cool, eh? You can tell they are excited, and as you can tell from the interview there, that came just not long after the Old Firm game. I got home, I think I was only home for about half an hour, and in the interview, and they were still absolutely buzzing. I got a chance to meet one of the boys on screen and one of their best pals and such like that as well. So it looked like the party was flying, which is always a good thing. So congratulations again to Callum and Gemma and the family, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you when we get an opportunity to see each other in 86 days. It's coming quick. We are still in conversations with the hotel just in terms of logistics and what that looks like. All the information you need in terms of ticket sales, in terms of room bookings, is on our website too. And we are going to be making some announcements. It might not be this week, but certainly next week, absolutely guaranteed, we'll be making announcements on the entertainment and what that looks like in terms of football and golf and such like that too. We want to start to make it feel like a convention again. There's been some background things going on that's just kind of prevented us from doing that for a wee while now. So hopefully we'll get that out next week, but it's getting very, very exciting, getting very close. And speaking of the convention, we do have our annual general meeting at the convention, and just a reminder that we are on the lookout for possibly a VP and a secretary for sure, treasurer for sure. If you know of anyone you think might be a good fit who does that particular role for your club, I would be more than happy to have a conversation with them, give them an idea of what that looks like, what the plans are for the immediate and short-term future of NARSA, and get them on board. It's going to be an opportunity to to just refresh and replenish. There's always a bit of a buzz when we get new people on here. But if you're interested in any of the positions on the NARSA executive, you can go to the Rangers website, you can go to About Us and see the Constitution, and then on the Constitution it will explain what each of the roles do, and I'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you. You can email me at rangerssec@hotmail.com and I'll give you everything that you need. We can have a quick blether about that. In terms of the communication, the Gers guide, now here's the thing. Isn't it just that when we are not doing well, the club are completely in their shell for communications? There's hardly anything on the website. There's nothing, and I can understand why that's why I can understand why that's the case. He says as he puts his teeth back in the right way. But I don't like that. I personally don't like that. I think you need to be consistent. I think you need to communicate what needs to be communicated. I'm not saying blindly communicate, if we have a really, really bad result and then we're launching a new kit or some other new apparel or something like that. But just consistently commit to the communications that the fans are expecting, and we haven't had that. But this time the Gers guide is probably the most packed Gers guide that I've seen in the time that I've been reviewing the Gers guide on the podcast. So here goes. On today it's away days, of course, and chronicling our wonderful victory at Sharkhead yesterday. Then there's also information, interviews with Dujon Sterling and John Suter in reaction to the victory there. Then we have the Rangers women's team highlights, of course, with the Motherwell victory on the weekend. And then we have Kirsty McLean doing a segment about the Sky Sports Cup final, basically a preview segment in there. And then there's also a feature of a day in the life of Liv McLaughlin as well from the Rangers women's team. That's just today that's there. Tomorrow, the loan review, as always, on a Tuesday. Then there is a segment on a lowdown. It's called The Lowdown on Athletic Club. So information about our quarter-final opponents is going to be in there. Then there's a retro big interview with Ian McMillan. And then we have Joe Potter and Nicola Docherty doing a Sky Sports Cup final feature 2. On Wednesday, there's an international preview, and then there's a Sky Sports Cup final feature on Gogglebrox. It's called, not 100% sure what that is, if I'm being perfectly honest. And then on Thursday, there's a feature about the Davy Cooper Cup final, which is 20 years ago, and that's Rangers versus Motherwell. Rangers won the game 5-1. Of course, you'll probably remember if you're old enough to remember that. And then that's accompanied with a film about the great man, Davy Cooper himself. I love Davy Cooper, I love everything he stood for. I just got to see the tail end of him in my Rangers life, and I have a tattoo of him on my right shin. And it's a beauty. I love it. And that's how much I love the guy. On Friday, Katie Wilkinson, my apologies. Katie Wilkinson has a feature there on the Sky Sports Cup final. And that's a feature there again. So very, very good to see lots and lots of content coming about that. Getting to cup final is a big deal. It's great to see Rangers making a big deal about it. Then, of course, on Saturday is the game itself, 3 p.m. at Fir Park. So if you're interested in going along, go to the Rangers website. You can see the tickets there. You can buy them. And on Sunday, there's not a lot going on in terms of the Gers guide, but that is packed, jam-packed. Who knew that a quarter-final in Europe and a victory over them at their dome is something worthy of getting all the communications out there as well. It just feels great to be able to review that. Quick reminder that the Rangers Review have given us a special offer of £5 for the entire year for NARSA members, NARSA friends, NARSA family, basically anyone that knows how to work a website can go on there, use the link that I provide and click in the code itself, and you will be good to go and get access to all of the content and material, which is going to be very material as we move forward to the quarter-final and as we hopefully close in on the takeover deal here, which was announced last week. You'll remember that it might be concluded as soon as May, and May is not far away at all from here as well. So if you're interested in that, the Rangers Review boys do a brilliant job. So I would recommend that you do that and take advantage of that very generous offer. And we have the Rangers International Coaching Convention coming up in, what's that now, a couple of weeks, the 3rd to the 6th of April. I'll leave the link there too if you're interested in that, or you know someone in your community or circle that's interested in coaching and wants to take it to the next level, you can go and learn what Rangers do. Okay, my friends, wee bit of a longer one this week, but lots to talk about, lots of positive things to talk about. I'd like to take this opportunity, as always, to thank you very, very, very much for taking the time to tune in. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the interview with our Experience Kissimmee winners, and it's just good to be a Rangers fan this week, isn't it? It doesn't take away from all the hardship and heartache that we've had to endure this particular season, but being part of a sports fan is taking the downs with the ups and enjoying the ups and really, really embracing them as they're here. And that's exactly what I'm going to do for the next couple of weeks before we're back in action. So until next week, my friends, please do take care of yourself and all the very best. Follow.